All right, folks, welcome to the BTSL. First thing is first, as always, if you hear any problems with audio, any issues with video, lag, all these things, please don't sit there idly. Let us know so we can fix and adjust them. But we're getting into the first game in the first best of 3 of the first qualifier for Season 1 of the BTSL! Woo! Spotty here at the bottom right, it's my pleasure to introduce the Green Terran, best known as Cure.
Look at that Jin Green Wings branding. What a god. And then top left, the red Zerg. This is Leenock. Blazer. Who dat?
It's like a combination of like Zombie Rep's cat's name and like a tribute to, I don't know. Anyways, Leenock is a guy we don't actually see a lot of. And I love that he's opening game 1 with some cheese.
Oh my goodness. We're going to have ourselves a proxy Roach Ravager rush here. This one's pretty powerful. It's going to be up to Cure to scout though. If he's caught without having a bunker or any factory units on the way, he's going to be in a trouble. Now, specifically, I mean talking about the Cyclone, of course. It's like the #1 shut down then Ravagers unit. The
Cyclone's very interesting though, because you do have to use it correctly too. You can't just simply A, move it and hope for the best. But yeah, this Reaper, obviously it's not gonna go straight up, guys. You're not looking for this versus Zerg. It'll go straight across the map, and by the time it gets there, it still might be too late. That's what makes it so dirty, because normally, right, conventionally the roaches pop out here and have to walk across the map. Well, surprise, surprise, you cut out the map when you build it right next to your opponent's base.
Yeah, if this is like the original version of the Roach Ravager rush, your Reaper will go across the map and spot 2 lings. And those early 2 lings are the sign to bunker up back at home. But the lings are actually coming from this hatchery, so the Reaper doesn't see them until much later. So that's the bamboozle part of this one.
The schemas. The other, you know, the thing too is like that Queen will be able to keep that Reaper from sitting there killing drones, which is kind of nice. This is not so bad. In fact, Leenock's 2 lings are already screwing up the SCV trying to build a command center, and we're left with this awkward question that all Terran players seem to answer differently. Do you cancel the command center, or do you try to finish this thing?
It looks like Cure's actually trying to finish it. He's got one SCV working on it. The other one on the bottom actually got picked off by the other ling of Leenock, so doesn't look too good for this command center.
It's not close enough to finishing either. You can't just run an SCV down there, hope to tap it. Like, this is pretty bad. In terms of things, though, at least he knows what's going on now, and it's not a question of, like, what's he doing? I think Cure's, there's only one reason these lings would be here so quick. Ooh, that Queen should not have gotten that Reaper, though. A couple grenades would help out a lot later on.
And now that the Ravagers are here, there is no hope for CC for quite a while. It may be worth just cancelling it right now. The Overlord's in vision to be able to give the Ravagers vision, rather, to Vile on that bunker. Yeah, has to cancel it. Otherwise, just a free pickoff for Leenock, who is continuing the siege on these supply depots.
Cure's making a lot of the right moves right now, though. He has already started a supply depot in the back of his base. The worst part about defending this attack, whether you're Grandmaster Korean or not, is just dealing with the supply block that is inevitably going to come with this, and Cure is handling this pretty well. It's not great, but it's never going to be in this situation.
Yeah, he has a siege tank and also cloaked banshees on the way, which really shut this down. He needs to not take critical damage or lose this tank, and he should be okay to recover and try and put hurt onto Leenock here.
I love where he's put his tank for this too. He knows that the Ravagers have to come up the ramp, and this is so far back that they can't just get those free corrosive biles like they sometimes do to kill tanks. There's also that cloaked banshee, so she can either go straight across the map and try and kill some drones, so some payback, or just deal with the Ravagers. Either way, Cure's on the way to recovering from this. This is an annoyance for him, but that's about it.
Yep. And we're seeing some creep tumors here from Leenock to try and stop him from taking his natural. This is another powerful thing to do with this proxy hatchery, is these queens are made from a hatchery right in front of the Terran, so they can spread creep right in the Terran's face. There is a pocket base which Cure may be able to expand to. He's got his CC up in the main now, or he's making a second CC in the main to float one on down, as he needs that. Alternatively, he could take the gold as well, but we'll see what he can do with this Banshee. If the Banshee does a fair bit of damage against Leenock, Cure could actually be in a pretty good spot.
I do love, though, that Leenock is also handling this. Like, there's a lot of predictions going down here. They've both obviously been down this road enough times. Leenock knows to get the Spore Crawlers down. Fear of the Banshee. Here she is. I don't think that we're seeing any inexperienced moves. This has actually been really well handled out of both so far.
Yeah, definitely. And with the fact that Leenock has a lair, he can even make Overseers to continue the aggression at the front door as well. Like, if he has an Overseer on those Ravagers, they won't go down to a Cloak Banshee because, don't forget, the Queens are there as well.
Yeah, Queens are pretty good for anti-air, too. No, not even balanced complaint.
Bad.
Yeah, they got range, they got damage. It's not bad. That's
pretty
clutch transfuse.
Yeah,
it's
this creature is really annoying.
But this is what I really like, and this goes back to me saying that these guys have had to deal with this enough times. He's going for a Raven, not a unit so conventionally seen nowadays. But one Raven is cheaper than the 5 or 6 scans it would take to clean up all this creep. This is actually a really smart move.
And he doesn't have that many scans. Because he's on Born Base for so long, he only has 1 orbital. So this Raven makes a ton of sense.
Let's also not forget, if you guys haven't been keeping up with StarCraft, they've made the Raven kind of useful again. They've given it back the auto turret, which is kind of whatever, but the other abilities have been enhanced. It's got better response time. The Raven's in a pretty good spot right now.
Yep, they got rid of the repair drone and they buffed the other abilities as well. So the auto turret's basically been nerfed a little bit from previous auto turrets. It's got 1 cast instead of 3, but it fights. It's still an auto turret. And was it the interference matrix? The lockdown ability got increased by 2 seconds.
Yeah, it lasts much longer now.
Yeah, it's pretty substantial. Oh, losing that Banshee, the Spore Crawler. That sucks. He needed that.
Yeah, definitely wasn't expecting that. I love that the Spore Crawler is there, though. He knew that the Banshee would be just trying to get free damage while this goes on. The one on the other side of the map has been kind of pushed off for the time being. Picked up a couple drones. All in all, though, this gets worse and worse for Cure, and he's going to be forced to take this base soon. If he doesn't, then he's just going to be out of the game. You can't play on one base forever as Terran.
That's right, and it is a janky base as well. It's just half the mineral patches. Oh, Bile's going down, one of the tanks going down there. Still 2 left for on the high ground for Cure, but they're in a very defensive position, and he wants them to be in range of, you know, everything down here in the low ground, specifically that Spore Crawler as well. It's being very annoying for his Raven. Oh, Banshee finding an opening on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Pretty good control. Limited energy, though. 9 drones lost in total so far.
That's not bad. We see that Leenock is up a handful of workers, but not really at a spot where he wants to be at this point in the game. Gets another tank there. Ravagers are really being annoying.
Really well handled, too. It takes exactly 3 shots to knock one down. He's not overcommitting. He's getting exactly what he needs and then backs away. These Queens can start transfusing some of that missing damage soon as well. So, Cure's making an interesting move to move out, but Leenock sees this coming. Creep spread out the wazoo, plus that Overlord. This is, like... I really didn't know what to think about Leenock coming into this because we haven't seen him. Is he out of shape? What's he looking like? And he's looking pretty fantastic so far.
Oh, he is biling down here. And there goes the anti-armor missile on all these Ravagers. So they are very, very squishy right now.
Their color,
-2 armor.
Their color,
yeah, wow, that's I need my sunglasses for those Ravagers, man. We got a bunch of Stim Marines in the main. Leenock did have vision of this, and he does have units back at home to knock it back.
You know what? I think Cure didn't even consider that bottom right base at this point. He could have taken that so easily by now. He's not doing the damage he needs to. Like, I'm actually worried he might just be out of the game, lest Leenock make some big grave mistake.
Yeah, it's not looking so great. Ling's actually going down there to block as well, and good luck Cure going down to deal with that. Oh, the Raven getting a little deep. This Raven's important for his creep spread. Oh, another anti-armor missile hitting all the Ravagers. Now the Ravagers are on -2 armor right now. Is that low enough for Cure to be able to mow through them?
For those who don't know, that will literally make the Marines do 2 more damage.
Yes!
Look at
the answer is yes.
Holy
shit!
This is a small amount of Marines. Wow.
Oh my god, dude!
You know, I've seen that ability used enough times, but not enough where I'm like, wow, that looked really effective. That was amazing. By the way, I guess there was drones over here, or I'm not quite sure where 16 died from just now. He must have saturated his base.
Yeah, I guess.
So I was so distracted by the Ravagers, guys. I was so blown away by how much damage those Marines did.
Yeah, I was too. Like, I had to ask for forgiveness as well, chat. I did not see 16 drones go down. I mean, Leenock's being very ballsy saturating this base, by the way.
Yeah, this is Cure finally getting back into the race, though. He was really in a lot of trouble. Cleans up all this creep. Now he can take this base if he needs to, and he's got a big enough army he can attack. I'm not sure if he's going to, though. He might still be kind of scared after the way this has gone.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't... Oh, his income hurts so bad.
Oh, look at that transfer. He's fully mined out of the main. That's why he's got to transfer every SCV. Jesus.
Yeah, he has to.
He's going to lift the command center as well. Yeah, he needs to. Oh, my God. This is going to kill his gas income, though. He has no refineries doing this.
Well, Cure's actually making a game out of this, guys. Make no mistake, he can actually win this game. His army is a lot better than Leenock's. Leenock's only starting 1-1 right now. He has a lot of Ravagers and Roaches, which aren't utilizing any of these upgrades, and also Cure has +1 attack for his Marines.
I want to see more of those
these are actually very powerful.
Or,
me too, dude. That was
anti-armor missiles.
Yeah, the anti-armor, the armor shredder, or whatever it's called. Oh, Cure out of position for this attack, though.
That's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt. He's not left with much afterwards. I'm not sure if the anti-armor missile can save him this time. A lot of SCVs.
We'll see.
The SCVs. Let's not forget, these are all the SCVs he transferred the main.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Cure's in trouble. A lot of those Ravagers are debuffed here, and he's lost 20 SCVs, knocking him down to 19. Oh,
losing
I think
his
Cure's...
Yeah,
Cure's in big trouble now. This is not good.
No, this is no bueno territory, man. I mean, he's on okay FCVs. Maybe a couple of mules can bridge the distance for now, but this is not. These are not acceptable losses. He has to clean this up and kill Leenock within the next minute, man. This is nothing else. He's losing the CC to Corsair Piles. There's nothing he can do about it.
It may even just burn down now. So he doesn't have too many SCVs to spare. That's a beautiful shredder missile there on those Ravagers.
Down. The CC died.
Down. That's his lifeline. He does still have that CC in the pocket third, but his income is still almost half that of Leenock's right now. And Leenock's going for a Spire, which is something that Cure cannot deal with. He can't afford turrets. There's no way he can afford a Thor. He doesn't even have an armory. So his anti-Mutilus capabilities are very, very dismal, except for Marines.
And of course, I didn't even consider this. To even move out to attack, he has to move through creep. Something that normally isn't the issue on your side of the field.
Yeah, that is weird. There's actually not much creep spread at all for Leenock on his side of the map. GG.
Well,
ah, man, that's a frustrating first game there for Cure.
Very least he's got loser's pick, so it will be his map choice for game 2. Maybe we'll pick a map he's a little bit happier with.
I do find Neon Violet Square, usually when I'm talking about TVZ on that map, I do find it quite tough against Zerg. Not obviously that game's not your regular TVZ. That one's a that one was a cheesy, weird game. But just in general, like there's a lot of space and counterattack avenues in the middle if you take out the pachinko blocks, I guess what you call them.
Yeah, the literally neon violet squares.
The neon violet squares, yeah.
All right, black pink, by the way, was the next map selected for Cure, so he wants to just stick with the classics.
Pretty solid map. One of the many great maps coming out of Avex's brain. He birthed it from his brain vagina.
I'm still not sure how I feel on the new maps in terms of like settling in. I know as time goes on, everyone becomes more used to them, but we're seeing all the players still avoid them. I got some thoughts on this, but we'll share it in a minute. They're ready to hop into it, so let's get into Blackpink. It's map number 2. See you guys soon. Welcome back, folks. Hopping into game number 2 real quick. Lickety split, but before we do, didn't even realize we're on the front page of Twitch. So good morning, Twitch users, those who happen to be stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy some StarCraft 2. Do join us in the chat. If you had any questions, we're always willing to take some and try to provide answers given the opportunity. But do keep in mind, for those who are tuning in for the first time, we're using a 2-minute stream delay to help avoid the temptation to perhaps be untoward and stream cheat. Though I don't think, I'm looking at the player list here, and there's not a single person I think would even do that. But why give him the opportunity? Anyways, in the top right, he's just secured game 1. Looking for a map 2, it's Leenock.
Certainly is. And in the bottom left here, on blue now, no more branding. This is Jin Air Green Wings is Pure. And hello to Twitch front page. This is StarCraft 2, the greatest esport in the history of PC gaming.
Oh, so I have to reply to somebody real quick here.
That's okay. I'll do shoutouts to Tharadan for 14 months of service in the main, I nearly said the main army. It's not the main army. This is base trade.
The alternate main army.
The alternate one. My home away from home.
So Gumio was asking this before the games started today, and I guess he was a little confused. We've divvied up the pricing quite a bit. This is partially to kind of dance around some restrictions Blizzard has on things, guys, but also because it's a little more rewarding for the players. So a quick breakdown of the prize pool. Like there's tons of money going into this. Like I also actually want to point out, before anyone even does anything for Match Arena or donates to the casters, like we have the money to run this tournament fully and entirely, right? Anything we get from this point onwards, it's extra, right? So like flying the extra casters out to the offline event, bumping up the prize pool, that's all extra. But the way we've broken it down is there's a little bit of prize money here, a little bit of prize money if you make it through to the round of 8, and even a bit more. I think there's like $500 for first place through all the online stuff, plus $1,000 in travel assistance and blah, blah, blah. Gumio was really confused where the big money was, and I was trying to explain to him just now. It's at the offline finals. So we did add a clause. We got some player feedback. This wasn't the initial case, but just so people are aware, if any of the players competing either can't because they can't get a visa or they just don't want to travel, they can totally give up the right to travel. We'll pass that down to the next highest ranking player. But to get a portion of the big prize money, like the $5,000 and anything we add onto it, that's all going to the offline finals in Canada. So that's not going to increase the online prize pool. Yes, thank you. Vancouver specifically. So I figured if Gumio wants to know, we should let everybody know, just so it's general knowledge, guys. Any big money on this tournament, any increases to it, that's all going to be going to the offline portion of things.
And there you go. Just to talk about the game real quick, we had a marine opener from Cure, so you give away a bit of scouting information because you don't open with that Reaper, but what you do get is the ability to pick off the early game Overlord if you're lucky, and he did. He picked off that first Overlord for Leenock, and picking off the first Overlord hurts more than any of the other Overlords. So that's a nice little start there for Cure. Leenock does have 3 bases on the way though, so he's looking pretty good economically though. And he is going to try and play Roach Tech here against Cure, who is... well, he's switching over to Bio, that's for sure, but he's definitely not going to overcommit in the Hellions.
I guess technically sticking to Bio, what we saw at Game 1, but Cure's also a guy who hasn't been too shy to play mech from time to time. Although,
oh, definitely not.
I'm really interested in this because we're starting to see this trend back towards Bio, I think, for a majority of the players out there, and I'm wondering if that's because, A, mech got figured out, so it's not as auto-win versus Zerg as it was for a small time, or if B, the Hydralisk nerf was just what was needed to make Bio the better option again. It's still so fresh to the patch, I honestly don't know.
Leenock's actually making a lot of units right now. Yeah, a handful of 10 Lings and 7 Roaches. Yeah, he's going for a big attack here on 41 drones.
And you know, Cure doesn't see this coming from a mile away because he didn't have that Reaper. Those Hellions stayed at home. So while he's getting a decent amount of bio out, there's no tanks coming, there's no bunkers, most importantly, and this wall at the front isn't even started, much less completed.
Good cluster of Lings are here. Will they wait for the Roaches?
Diving in on top of the Hellions isn't too bad of an option. Catch them while you can.
Yep. That's right. He gets rid of 1. There is a ball of Marines here, and Cure is producing 5 at once, which is pretty substantial, and Stim is going to be here in time for this attack. But what you really want is tanks, and he's trying to make them now, but they are just a little bit too late to something like this. He sees it with the Hellion. Cure needs to drop bunkers, he needs to do something here. Putting a CC on the 3rd spot is not what he wants to do.
Let's say, Skyling that, I thought engineering base would come down to the wall, but they went down in the main. There's plenty of SCVs. Kind of dancing around. I don't know if he could just hide out in the main. I mean, he does have 3 CCs. He can afford to lose some stuff here. Yeah, lift up the command center. Although those SCVs are doing a great job holding the Ravagers back. Marines with some good focus fire. Cost him 21 SCVs, but he takes out most of Leenock's army. And reminder, guys, Leenock's pretty all in with this.
He's very all in with this. He's got 28 more Lings on the way here. And if Cure walls off right now, no, he's going to go for a counter drop. Okay.
Risky.
This is very, very risky. I question this move from Cure here. Leenock is making drones in a lair? What?
Both players are making some odd choices this game. From the start with no Reaper to like this now. He's rushing back though. He didn't put a wall up. I think a wall was the most necessary thing possible here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even the risk of the player going all in, even the fact that if this is not all in and Leenock trying to drone up now, which is what Cure thinks he's doing because he wanted to go for counter drop, even then, wall off, man. make a wall, dude. Leenock is still a Zerg. That wall is very necessary. The Ling in the main does see the double engineering bay, and Cure is correct in the fact that Leenock is trying to drone up and make a game out of this.
You know what Leenock did not see, though? He did not see the third CC.
Ah. Okay.
Now maybe
so
he saw the main one was building, and the Ling's like refresh vision. I don't know. Maybe he has knowledge of it. Maybe he doesn't. But right now he doesn't have vision of it being landed at the third, and that's what's key. So as he's chasing this around, he's trying to drone up. Oh, Cure, please, thank goodness. He's paying attention.
Yeah, that was close, actually. Shows that Cure's looking at his drops here, controlling it very, very well. Yeah, Leenock, you know, even though the Terran is down, you know, on workers or whatever, that's not actually a big deal when you have 3 Cs, 3 guys. You can triple mule, and also producing 3 SCVs at a time is a very good amount of production. Man, what are these depots doing here? Cure wall off, dude.
He's kind of getting it done. A lot of overloads going down, by the way, for Leenock. I don't know if I really want to chalk this out to being careless, but he does have them severely out of position knowing there's drops there. So 6 and no overload speed, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage here for Cure, and he kind of needed to do it as well. Leenock still has a pretty great ground army, especially considering 12 roaches are about to hatch and going to beef that up pretty heavily. Cure's doing a great job with these upgrades, though. 1-1 is about to finish, and he's going to have an armory in time for 2-2. He has to... I mean, these medevacs are very tough on Leenock to deal with.
Oh, picks up, gets out of there. Not too shabby. No Hydras means no anti-air. Just the Queens? That's not enough to chase down these medevacs.
Yeah, I mean, Roach Biles is not going to hit that unless Cure is not really looking and makes a grave mistake. There are Queens, but not that many.
Boosting around. If he consolidates with these 4 drops and goes to the main, that army is pretty out of position. Easier said than done. Yeah. But Leenock's finally catching up on these upgrades. I mean, if this game had continued with him having 0-0, like, yeah, he's probably in a lot of trouble. It's okay to be slightly behind as long as you are still in the race.
Man, Leenock has a shitload more army supply than Cure does right now, and a lot of it's in Roaches, which doesn't scale very well into the late game. But it is a lot more army supply, so he can take this fight. Ooh, medevacs get out of dodge there. Actually, nearly kills one of his Roaches.
Yeah, I saw that thing's down on red HP while this happens. Trying to think of 4th base is really bold through all this drop pressure too, but I guess the idea is that try and get away with what you can, because Leenock can't just sit down and defend. He has to take some kind of a risk, whether it's the attack that he's going for now or double expansion, whatever. Point is, he's now bringing the fight to Cure's base. But Cure has long since been a guy who didn't have a wall and no defenses. Now he's got turrets up, expecting tunneling claws. He's got tanks out. He's ready to fight this Roach army.
And he has to, because Leenock is here and he's going for the attack, busting down that natural ramp, or at least trying to. Tank at the back, putting a lot of damage on these 2 tanks at the back. I stand corrected. With this Marine meat shield, if he can keep these tanks alive, Cure can take a really good engagement. He pulls the SCVs as well, maybe not even needing them.
Yeah, the tanks go down. It's a little unfortunate, but there's so many Marines left over. Chewing through this doesn't look too impossible, but he has got a drop on that 4th base. Not going to get a kill, but pressure, pressure. While Leenock looks away from the main, he goes in with another drop over here, and Cure's starting that multitasking that we all love him for.
He certainly is, but Leenock is everywhere with these Roaches. A bunch of them actually just hatch fresh in the main as well to engage this. He has more of his units stringing across the map. Looks like he's trying to break down the rocks angle on that 3rd base. The tanks are still there, though.
It's really impressive. Leenock just has
position.
He just always has Roaches. It's so good.
Yeah, and when you have 50 more army supply of Roaches than the Terran has bio and tank, they can absolutely take fights, and they're doing that just now, forcing Cure to take off that 3rd base. Trying to drop in the main again.
A lift is nothing compared to what is going to be a hatchery dead, plus a lot of damage in the main potentially. More overlords going down here to try and block Leenock, but factory going down is going to really suck for our Terran. Yeah,
that's less tank production. In fact, he must have another factory somewhere, maybe in the main base. But we have the Stim Marines going into the main, getting a few drones here, which is nice. And keep in mind that Leenock has an army that can actually end this game if Leenock takes if he controls it well.
Well, looks like Cure did lose control one of the drops, unfortunately. Ooh. But he's going to get the main by the looks of it at this rate.
That's a big pickoff.
It's very nice.
Very nice. Yeah.
Tank's getting some good shots as the Roach try to wrap around. That bio just has to hold the line here. Tank does go down, but another one's behind it. And a CC finishes up right in the face of this army.
It's a bold place to put that CC. It's got high ground around it. And if you guys, from the front, don't really watch much StarCraft, the top of those ramps you have no vision of unless you have a flying unit or a unit on top of that ramp. So he's got like a CC right on top of it. He's asking for a cluster of roaches to come down there and pick that thing up. But
it is
anyway,
actually in the worst position possible.
yeah, right. Cure's just being annoying with these drops. Once again, Leenock really can't deal with them very easily with his lack of Hydralisks and lack of Mutalisks.
You know, for what it's worth, too, he just picked off what was one of 2 queens remaining. Leenock's remaking queens now, but larva injects are going to start falling off. It's part of why we're starting to see him bank a lot, plus the supply block. Leenock had a really good macro run up to this point, all things considered, but now starting to struggle a bit, especially now he's down upgrades again.
Yeah, he's going for vials here on this bio. Oh my god, that's so many Marines. They have 2. Oh, he shreds this army. Oh my god, easy peasy. He takes this army out, no problem whatsoever. Has units left over. GG.
That's the game. Cure ties up this series 1-1. We picked a good first round match, Maynard. Hot diggity dang.
That we did, my friend. If I could high five you right now, I would. Can we do like some kind of awkward through the screen high five?
We're just gonna look like we're squishing the sponsors, but go for it. All right, and there
we go.
Terrible.
Good high five. We nailed it. No, like this. That game was actually an example of everything that I keep telling people when they try and go Roach Ravager. I just really think that army sucks after a certain point, and we saw that with Leenock being up what 60 army supply, 50, 60 army supply.
Yeah,
could not beat a bio-tank army.
Well, part of that really does go to the control of Cure, the control of both players, honestly. But Cure's, he kept it together, man. And it was more important that Cure kept it together than anything else. Especially when you consider how he was recovering off of a very terrible game 1.
Yeah, that was a frustrating first game there. Lots of mistakes as well. Well, we are in map number 3. It's going to be on Catalyst. Another old map. Yeah,
and funny enough, I have got an intro for this one too. So, yeah, let's hop into it. See you guys in game. Okay, I'm just going to say, I know we're on the front page, so this number is going to fluctuate. But 3,000 people tuning in for the first best of 3 of the day feels pretty darn good for some StarCraft 2. Hopefully you guys are actually enjoying it, not just coming and going through the front page, but if you are, hi and howdy. But folks, it's game 3. This determines who moves on to the brackets and who gets knocked out. Remember, there's 4 qualifiers in total, but they're all single elimination, so there is no second chance if you lose. So, very important you win. And in the bottom right,
it is indeed.
He's had his series tied up 1-1 on him. It's the blue Zerg Leenock.
And with a great hold and a great game on Black-Pink, this is Jin Green Wings' Cure. Rocking the green.
Also, because it was brought up in chat, figured it would be. Yeah, we had Maynard breaking up a little bit towards the end of that game, guys. We already restarted the call, so it should be all Gucci going forward. It does feel like there are time limits, I'm learning. Like, Zombie Up and I can go about 2 hours before it gets real bad. Maynard and me is like half an hour. That damn Aussie ping.
Yeah. And you are the only one as well that has this problem with me, by the way. Like, Zombie Grub and I, when we've done casts together, Discord's been fine. We also sometimes use Zoom, which has got pretty good performance.
I've been looking into using that again, actually, because we've been having these issues with Discord.
I wonder if Zoom would work for us. We should try that. I mean, we got a lot of casts together coming up, so we should try Zoom, I think.
Yeah, I'm down for giving it a shot. I know that we actually used it for a long time at Base Trade, and then we stopped because Zombie Girl was having issues she couldn't figure out with it. The audio was all messed up, but certainly an option if things get bad. But I mean, it's not bad, guys. It's just a small hiccup at the end of the game. We'll worry about it later type thing. But as I said, there's no second chances. This is not double elimination. It's just 4 single elimination brackets. Top 2 from each get through, which is kind of a big deal because the European side of this is not quite the same. We did break up the Asia brackets, mostly with the idea that we're still targeting Korea and Korean players as like the primary players we want to feature, but it lets us split up the time zones. So, you know, casts like today start at 4 a.m. Pacific, whereas the Asia Open one starts at 5 p.m. Pacific. 2 opposite ends of the day, better chance for people to play when they're more comfortable. The European brackets, I'm just going to mention real quick, are going to have top 4 qualify from each of the qualifiers. So, same amount of qualifiers in total, just different amounts per qualifier.
There you go. The Reaper, by the way, just to bring up, got a drone kill, and that's not something you see every day at this high level. Obviously, you'll lose a drone to your Reaper, maybe even 2 drones to your Reaper to a Reaper in a ladder game, but at this level, it's actually quite rare. So, nice pick off there for Cure.
Especially after he had lost that last Reaper. Not so good. But new game, new Reapers.
This game looks pretty standard for Leenock so far. Obviously, you know, it's heading to the point where if he wants, he could drop a Roach Warren and go all in again. But for game 1 and game 2, Leenock's gone for like a proxy or an all-in. So, and Leenock kind of did this in GSL as well, right? Where he, like, I don't know if you saw the GSL groups when Leenock played in the group with Innovation and Scarlet, but he played very cheesy and a little gimmicky. We'll see if he does that in game 3. Bailey Nest is getting dropped down, but that's a regular timing for that Bailey Nest.
Well, that play style though isn't so bad because, granted, it doesn't apply to all matchups, but that's kind of how Scarlet's been getting a lot of her victories lately too. And I wouldn't be surprised to see other people start trying to emulate that. But at the same time, Leenock was kind of that guy always. It's just different types of units at different time periods. Oh,
he's actually got a pretty hefty supply block as well, unfortunately.
Ooh.
I mean, those Lings dying helps, but yeah.
Something we actually haven't seen out of Cure yet. That's a pretty quick Liberator coming out, actually. This probably won't get too much done. Catalyst doesn't have any really abusive spots, but if it goes in while everything's dancing around these Hellions, maybe it gets to pick up a few kills.
Yeah, I can see it. The Liberator in the early stages of the games... Oh, spotted by that Overlord, though, at least. So Leenock does know it's coming, and he's got Spores as well. If you have Spores and Queens, generally the Liberator can be dealt with, but even then, sometimes it'll get 2 or 3 drones here.
A lot of that, though, really is, are you distracted? Big Hellion run by in the third, for example, can have your Queens in the wrong position as the Liberator heads on over to the main.
Very smart.
Oh, that's a Viking. Liberator's not heading over to the main, heads on over to the third.
Well, Liberator's going to where all the Hellions are and where Leenock's attention is. In fact, he's leaving an opening for his Hellions, which is going to do way more damage than the Liberator.
Oh, God. And the Lynx can't really deal with this on a ramp. But out in the open, maybe to get the surround. A little bit dangerous, though. The Hellions start getting surrounded now. Not in a great position. Liberator sets up, but there's nothing for it to kill. It goes down immediately to that Spore Crawler. Cure had a potential here for a lot of damage. I feel like he killed himself here.
Yeah, 7 drones is a nice looking number, but when you think about what he had to spend to make those 7 kills happen, not so great. Liberator's 150 minerals, 150 gas, there's the bunch of Hellions in there, even the Reaper counts.
I'm just a little bit more upset that he left the ramp, man. He could have taken a Link fight, no problem there. Leave just 2 or 3 Hellions? I don't know. But who am I to criticize? Is bloody Cure after all. Hydralist then comes down for Leenock, and I want to remind everybody, especially our front page friends who are watching for the first time in maybe a while, Hydralist, of course, had their upgrades kind of nerfed. Its Muscular Augment was torn into 2 separate upgrades now. We got to watch Game Time do a really cool Hydra timing where he went for 2 Hydra Dens to make up for it, but you can get by with 1 if you're just playing slow and like normal. So if Leenock's planning to play around this 4th and not get super aggressive, plenty of time to get both those upgrades out.
We just had an update from the chat, actually, that Rogues lost 2-0 to True, and people are saying, oh, you know, it's a hangover from the BlizzCon, you know, BlizzCon curse, etc., etc. I think Rogue's actually just having a bit of a mental block in ZvZ right now. It always seems like when he loses a match where you don't think he would ever lose it, it's usually against another Zerg.
So this actually, for me, I don't want to get too Freudian on this, but this has been what's really been disappointing me a lot lately with StarCraft people, right? And I'm not blaming anyone in chat, don't get me wrong, faceless imaginary person who's I'm directing says nobody's celebrating like, holy shit, True beat Rogue. Instead, everyone's just like, I can't believe Rogue lost. Like, same thing happened. Damaga beats Innovation 2-0 and has to drop out of a tournament. And everyone's like, can't believe Innovation lost. I'm like, can we just hype up the fact that Damaga beat Innovation? Like, what the hell?
Well, they sure as hell weren't saying, I can't believe Innovation lost when Scarlet beat him. That's a different... I mean, she has so many fans. Maybe it's a fan-based thing, I don't know.
I feel like there's a rude amount of pessimism in all of us, and it just shines a little too much when we talk about StarCraft sometimes. Yeah.
All you glass half-empty nerds out there, why don't you look at the glass from a different perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
These Hydras are being very nice here. Yeah, top it off.
This will be nice too, the Hydras, because he's really been lacking these. Dealing with these medevac drops has been such a pain because Cure's never really been punished for them. They just keep getting away. Roaches can't shoot up, Ravages never get their shots, so the Hydras can actually possibly deal with this. But these Marines, a lot of damage coming out. Stim said he wants that hatchery.
Yeah, I think this is an overextension, though. The Hydras make things really tough, and then eventually you start to lose your medevacs, which is not an acceptable loss for Cure. So Leenock is just straight up playing Ling Bane Hydra, which is as standard gets for the meta in Zerg versus Terran, and he's droning very heavily as well. His upgrades look great. He's heading towards that late game, so it's gonna be a nice lengthy-ish game.
I think both players are playing really fantastic here for that final. I mean, this feels like the finals of the tournament with the intensity that these guys are playing. Leenock's actually macro hatcheried up with a queen, so he's gonna have no problem with larva production, right? And on the other hand, Cure's got really good macro. Oh, it gets caught here. That's not so good. But he's got a wall up, so there's not gonna be run bys in that conventional spot. Everything has to funnel in here.
I quite like the depot wall. I even sometimes like Terrans that go for the engineering bay wall because it has a lot more surface area, more hit points. It's not that much more expensive than depot.
How do you feel about really shitty Terran players who put planetary fortress walls down, man? Just curious.
I mean, if you have the money.
Some of us play Turtley in Diamond League, whatever. I love this though. Like, Cure actually knocks down these rocks. There's literally one way into his base right now, and it's through a tiny little choke. That's something Leenock will never want to have to fight in given the opportunity. Timing for this attack also looks really good. It's your standard Marine tank. It's got some Liberators to back it up. But this is that timing where Leenock's thinking about Hive Tech. The infestation pit's on the way. He's just spent a ton of gas on upgrades. Leenock now has to make a choice. Do I make units to fight this army, or do I try and sneak away with that tech and get to Hive? It's a tough decision to make, because you can be punished for it badly.
Certainly. Cure going for this push here. Also, back at home with his economy, he has 74 SCVs, and you think, oh, you know, Terrans equal workers with the Zerg. That's really good for the Terran, right? Well, not until that fourth's down. His income's less than Leenock's without mules. He's overmade SCVs actually at the moment.
I'm actually surprised. Just the income graph, like, it's been back and forth all game. I thought this was gonna be a lot more Leenock oriented, but I guess it is 70 drones and not 80. Regardless, he's opened up rocks. I love this. He's made sure that there's not going to be trouble getting through and around his own base to take on this engagement. And with the slow creep up of tanks and Liberators with that sort of bunny hop, leapfrog forward, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be tough to take an engagement. Cure will not allow himself to be found like completely with his pants down. He will not be off guard with this. He's playing it super safe.
And he already has Liberators out as well, which is going to help him when it's ultra o'clock, which is, if I check my watch, pretty close. Oh.
Tanks eat a lot of the Banelings, still a lot of Marines on the backside, but more Banelings come in, what feels like an endless number of them. Getting surrounded, Leenock's got a really big surround on this army!
He does, and Cure comes in for this engagement, but I don't think he can take it. That's a big concave of Hydralisks here, especially now that these Banelings are here as well. Sure. Way too much Zerg on the dance floor, and Leenock takes a pretty nice engagement there.
Two things. First off, shout out to that one Liberator. Before she went down, I had like 5 or 6 kills on her, all Hydras. Secondly, I didn't realize Cure was actually behind in upgrades. I'm not sure what happened with that armor to fall off, but he's only finishing up +2, not even right now, but in a few moments.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there either. Maybe he was on one eBay for a lot longer than I thought. But we have Leenock like crossing his T's and dotting his I's, man, and his lowercase J's. He has got the Great Aspire on the way. He's not even bothering with the Ultras. He's going just Adrenal 3-3. That is a scary army.
Wayne's World is a phenomenal movie.
It's a classic. Everyone should watch it. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor.
Alright, it's looking like a planetary down here. Great spot for it if he can secure it, but that's a big if. Big surrounded of Leenock once again.
He doesn't have a ton of Hydralisks, which are the major threat, I feel like, for this CC because it can fly, but that's a lot of links. He's gonna definitely bully that bio away if he wanted to commit.
You know, behind this, though, man, it gets worse. When it rains, it pours. Hive Tech's done, and Greater Spire's nearing completion.
Indeed. Oh, man. And he's, I mean, at this point as a Terran, if you're not keeping an eye on the tech, usually most Terrans will blindly start producing Liberators around now because they know it's, you know, more often than not going to be Ultralisks. And he's actually producing 4 Marauders at a time, expecting Ultras.
And
there's the Liberators, but they are just not very good against Brutalists.
I just realized Liberators are known for how bad they are for their anti-air capabilities. But I just realized you add on like that. Oh. He's gonna lose all of this. Oh god.
Oh my god. Yeah, there goes about 20 supply. There goes another 5.
Not just 20, like 20% of his supply. It's not good for Cure. But I was just thinking, you know, mass liberators could actually be a late game solution now. Maybe, I say maybe, I don't actually know, guys, but maybe with the anti-armor missile coming back in, clumped up corruptors suddenly aren't so scary. Especially if you got 3 extra damage coming down from each of the liberators through splash.
Yeah, he's still producing liberators. He's still really expecting ultralisks, but it is going to be Great Aspire. Surely the corruptors were a inclination that maybe Vikings should be produced here instead of liberators for Cure. Just kind of going on TVZ late game autopilot at the moment, which unfortunately I think may kill him if this game goes much longer. He is getting double stuck. Look, he's preparing for ultras. He's trying to get advanced ballistics here.
Well, there's the Brood Lords to say surprise. The starport's at least will be good. Ghost Academy's on the way. Like, there's a lot of tools to maybe deal with this given enough time, but it looks like he's not going to have time. Laying around by catches this planetary before it's even close to being done. Has to lift. SCV's dying, and meanwhile, that frontline army, it can't do anything. The tanks are probably friendly firing the army worse than the Broodlings are.
Yeah, the tanks are just basically hitting the Broodlings, which is doing friendly fire damage to the Bio and also the CC. And these Broodlords, there is no answer for them. This Bio is going to find it very, very tough to get under there because there are a bunch of Adrenal 3/3-lings waiting for them.
Jeez, if he unsieges and if he takes the Liberators out, the rest of the army moves in. You can see Leenock's just waiting for his opportunity. Goes for broke, though. Feels the opportunities here. Planetari's going to help out a ton, but I think the Hydras have still got this with those Broodlords right there on that backside.
Oh, the Liberators did a nice job there against the Hydras, and a lot of the ground forces of Leenock is gone. Cure trying to close the distance here with his Bio. He is in range of those Broodlords.
Yo, shout out to the Vikings that just came out. Nothing left to shoot back at him. Planetary's actually holding on to this. What? Did Cure just hold the attack?
Oh, Leenock's still got quite a bit of army supply. He's replenishing, but a lot of that's still in eggs and not here fighting right now. Leenock decides to try and go for a run by in the third, but the wall is strong for Cure.
But there's nothing behind it, so it's going to break. Once that breaks, the floodgates open. Tanks are not going to be produced. Factory's gone. That CC's not even doing anything, and this one's still in the air.
Yeah, burrowed lings underneath it, making sure it can't land. These lings are shredding the SCV count of Cure here.
Borderline BM just makes the Banelings in the liberation zones. Who cares? No big deal.
And he's rallying in one Hydralisk at a time. These Liberators. I mean, Leenock's not having the cleanest engagement, but he is fighting a spiral out of control. GG.
Oh, wow. What a series.
Another one.
Leenock, man. That's good. All right, so now we got to take our pick real quick here, man. Before we go to commercial break, and we are going to be going to commercial break in a sec, guys, we've got a choice. We got a TVT of Ryung and Innovation, or alternatively, Leenock, and we wait a little bit versus possibly Gumiho.
Choices. Innovation Ryung, how's that going?
It hasn't started. It's been held for us if we want it.
Ooh, I kind of want that. I kind of do.
Well, we'll hold on, because actually, as it turns out, they may have started without us. I'm gonna look into this. One sec.
Oh, okay.
Before we go to commercial break, I'll confirm so at least you guys know what's coming up next. So hold up a sec.
I'm holding on. I'm holding on really tight.
No, it's down the lobby. All right, join off me. Guys, we're going to go commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Thank you all those who have subbed. I'm sorry we haven't been giving you shout-outs, but these have been intense as hell games.